Good day, good afternoon, good evening, good everyone. My name is Professor Paul Allieu Kamara, coming away from the road of Cornell University with our usual program, Leadership Development and Administrative Talk. And we'll be looking at our topic, Organizational Development. And as we look at the organizational development, we'll be working on our different aspects of studies that we have been looking at from part one. We've done part one, we've done part two, and today we'll be looking at part three. Of course, don't forget in our part one, we dealt with the history, the overview, and some aspect. And then part two, we looked at the change agent, and that we spoke of the willingness to agree that there is a problem and also the willingness to agree for the problem to be addressed. So today we are looking at the third aspect of that teaching, which has to do with applying behavioral science. We're looking at applied behavioral science. Now, what does behavioral science address and what are we looking at in these teachings today? One of the outstanding characteristics of organizational development are distinct from its most other important program, that is it based on helping relationship. We're looking at the basis of helping relationship. Some believe that the change agent is like a physician to the organization's ill, that he or she does not examine the patient but make a diagnosis, write a prescription, and not does that he or she is trying to teach organizational members a new inventory of knowledge which they themselves transfer to job situation using theories or methods drawn from such behaviors such as industrial or organizational psychology, industrial sociology, communications, cultural anthropologies, administration theory, administration or organizational behavior, economics, political science. The change agent main function is to help the organization define and solve its own problem. So the basic method used is known as research, and the code name for it is called action research. Action research. This approach, which is described in detail in our subsequent teaching, consists of a preliminary diagnosis, collecting data, giving feedback of the data to the client, do data exploration by the client group, action planning based on the data, and taking what is referred to as action for the addressing of the problem. I'd like us to look at a few things in detail, and one of them is called the systems context. So we are looking at various things here. One of those things are the holistic and futuristic view of organization. Organizational development with a total system. The organization has a whole, or the organization as a whole includes one, the relevant environment, or with a subsystem or systems, department or work groups in the context of the total system, part of systems, for example, individual cliques, structures, norms, value, and product are not considered in isolations because the principle of interdependency that change in one part of the system affect another part, which is fully recognized. And thus, make the OD intervention focused on total culture and cultural processes of the organization. The focus is also on group, since the relevant behavior of individuals in organization and group is generally a product of the influence of the group rather than the personalities themselves. So we looked at the group as a focal point. The next thing we're looking at is improve organizational performance. The objective of OD is to improve the organization capacity to handle its internal and external and the functioning and relations or relationships. This includes improving interpersonal and group processes, more effective communication, and enhanced ability to cope with organizational problems of all kinds. It also involves more effective decision processes, more appropriate leadership style, improved skills in dealing with destructive conflict, as well as developing improved level of trust and cooperation in organizational members. These objectives stem from a value system based on an optimistic view of the nature of man. That man in a supportive environment is capable of achieving high level of development and accomplishment. Essentially to organization development and effectiveness is the scientific method which one has to do inquiry of a rigorous search for causes and experimenting, testing of hypothesis and view of result. Few things we'll be looking at under this um, heading is one is self-managing working group. Self-managing. Now, self-managing working group allows the member of a group team to manage, control, and monitor monitor all facets of their work, from recruiting, hiring new employees, to deciding when to take a rest or break. An early or earlier analysis of the first self-managing work group yield the following behavioral characteristics, as Ackman put it in 1986. There are five things that we have identified under self-managing. One is that manage the assumption. We must be able to manage the assumption. uh, the employee should be assuming personal responsibility and accountability for the outcome of their work. Number two, employees must be able to monitor their own performance and seek feedback on how well they are accomplishing their goal. Number three, employees must be able to manage their performance and take corrective action when necessary to improve their and performance of other groups. Number four, employees should be able to seek guidance, assistance, and resources from the organization when they do not have what they need to do their work. And number five, employees must also be ready to help members of their working group and employees in other groups to improve job performance and raise productivity for their organization as a whole. The next phase we are looking at also is organizational self-renewal. Organizational self-renewal. What and why? The ultimate aim of organizational development practitioners is to work themselves out of a job. To work themselves out of a job by leaving the client organization with a set of tools, behavior, attitude, and an action plan with which to monitor its own state of health and take corrective steps towards its own renewal and development. This is consistent with the system concept of feedback as a regulatory and corrective mechanism. To this end, organizational development scholars and practitioners use tools such as stimulation with their clients to be used in workshop, classroom setting. One example of self-renewal situation or stimulation authored by research from Cornell University and Indiana University, can be found in their website. And also, I will bring you some materials on our subsequent teachings on their findings. But um, as a summary of their work, the study of the organization effectiveness and improving organization performance has developed some alongside the study of leadership development, with a great focus on leadership development program that focuses on the development of the individual, and also has to do with what we call emotional intelligence in relation to leadership development. What are some of these things that fall within these studies? And they are called understanding the organization. Understanding the organization. How do you understand the organization? One, you need to understand the purpose. The purpose. The organization members are clear. They should be clear about the organization's mission and purpose and goals agreement. Whether people support the organization's goal or not, they should be able to be clear about it. Number two, they need to understand the structure. Every organization has a structure. Every organization has a structure. How is the organization's work divided? Who is doing what? How? When? And where? The question is whether there is an adequate fit between the purpose and the internal structure. If the internal structure cannot fit the purpose, then it has to be reviewed in order to match the purpose of the organization, because the structure goes with the purpose. Number three, you need to understand the relationship between individuals, between units of or departments that perform different tasks, and between the people and the requirement of their job. You have the admin department, the production department, the finance department. No, everybody must be clear about what he or she should be doing and how. Because when we have a clear role, we avoid conflict or friction towards having one man played all the roles while others are without roles to play. Number five, the leadership structure. We need to understand the leadership structure is to watch for what we call the blips among the other boxes and maintain balances among them. You need to understand the leadership. We have the board of directors, we have the MDs. Uh, so there are some organizations that have the CEOs, chief executive officers. Some have managing directors, some have director generals. The high level management, the middle level management, and then you have the lower level management. You need to understand all the structures that prevails in the organization. And number six is uh, helping mechanism. You need to understand the helping mechanism. Where do we turn when we need help? What must the organization attend in order to survive and thrive? Procedures such as planning, control, budgeting, and other information system that the organizations need to keep it functioning appropriately and well. The next part of what we are looking at is the modern development. You know, OD has been modernized and has been developing as the trend goes by. In recent years, serious questioning has emerged about the relevance of the organizational development in managing change in modern organizations. This need for reinventing the field that has becoming a topic that even some of our founding fathers are discussing critically. And what are some of these? With this call for reinvention and change, scholars have begun to look or begun to examine organization development from an emotional based standpoint. For example, Dekla in 2007 write about how emotional trauma can negatively affect performance. Due and downsizing, outsourcing, mergers, restructuring, continually change, invasion of privacy, harassment, and abuse of power may lead to so many trouble around the organization. So many employees experience the emotion of aggression, anxiety, apprehension, cynicism, and fear, which can lead to, performance decrease. Declare in 2007 suggests that in order to heal the trauma and increase performance, organizational development practitioners must acknowledge the existence of the trauma and provide a safe place for employees to discuss their feelings, symbolize the trauma and put it into perspective, and then allow for and deal with the emotional responses. One method of achieving this is by having employees draw a picture of what they feel about the situation and then having them explain their drawings with each other. Drawing picture beneficial because it allows employees to express their emotion. Um, they express their emotion normally and would also be able to put into words their drawing and prompt the participation into everyone that has to do with the processes. Um, as we close for today, I'd like us to look at just this one thing which has to do with the use of technology. The use of new technology combined with globalization has also shifted the field of organization development. Roland Sovlens in 2005 defined organizational development with what we call participant at the first organization development conference for Asia in Dubai in 2005 as organization development is a transformative leap to a desired vision where strategies and system aligns, where systems and strategy aligns. In the line of local culture with an innovation and authentic leadership style, using the support of the high-tech tool, according to Bob Oddy in 2015, introduces the KDLs, which is called the Key Development Indicator. That is to help organizations go beyond performance and align strategies. Organization and individual are urged that fundamental, or they are arguing that fundamental challenges such as the robotic, the artificial intelligence, and genetic prefigured regeneration in the field as also affecting the human actions. So we'll be dealing with action research tomorrow, which has to do with the input, transformation, and output of the organization by Wendley L. the Frenchman and Cecil Bill. And that will be dealt with tomorrow. So I'll see you again in my next video. And please don't forget to subscribe, to ask questions, or to make contribution. Look at our channel and just click shared and subscribe, click shared and subscribe so that many of us, our colleagues outside here, may have access to learn. Thank you once more. My name is Professor Paul Allieu Kamara, a professor of leadership, development, and administration from the Rudolph Kwano University. I'll meet you again on our next our next online teachings on ODA in our leadership talk. Thank you very much. I wish you a well blessed weekend.